you right here, right now, to make the most out of yourself. If I talk to a business owner, here's what I say. I can help you make more top line revenue, more bottom line profit, and reducing your fixed overhead, your expenses, and your risk. I have a proprietary system to do that. If I'm talking to someone who produces something like an artist or a musician, I can help you create better content, perform at a higher level, and have more fun and get more followers than you are right now. That's the way I describe what I do. I create impossible outcomes. And so the question I have for you is, whose Kool-Aid are you sipping? Because what we hear all the time, both explicitly and implicitly, is you're not really good enough. You're not really going to cut it. You're not really all that. And that's just not true. Okay? Here's the thing. You were born for this kind of disruption. Okay? I hear people say to me, well, the world couldn't handle the real me. How do you know? You've never been the real you. That's just an excuse that you make, or I might make, so that I don't show up fully as myself. What the hell would happen if you showed up all in with your full capability and potential? If you showed up with your heart, with your soul and your truth, what would happen? I talked to someone today who was, describing to me in language they don't usually use because they usually don't like to say it in public. But they were telling me their gifts, the things they're really committed to do, what they love to create. And then I just said it back to them. And they got emotional. And I said, so why aren't you sharing that truth? And the answer is afraid of rejection, afraid it won't be good enough, that somebody won't like it. You know what? They won't. There's going to be somebody or group of somebodies that think you're stupid and wrong. Who gives a crap? The best gift that you and I have to offer is the truth of who we are. And if you don't actually know, like if I were talking to you and I said, who are you? And I ask that question a lot, and most people can't answer it. They say things in terms of job or in terms of other role, like wife or husband or parent, and those are important roles, don't get me wrong. Being a good parent is the most important assignment you'll ever have in the world, more important than a cure for cancer, because the impact you have there goes on for generations. I don't care if you disagree or you think I'm crazy. A good parent who loves and nurtures and lifts and blesses their kids is the most important assignment you have. I know that the hard way. I didn't have a good experience growing up, but I had lots of things I took away from that experience. I wasn't a particularly good dad. I'm hoping that my kids, even though there were struggles and failures and mistakes, took some good things away about how to live life. But nevertheless, regardless of how good you do any particular assignment, whether it's your parenting or anything else, the most important thing about us is that we're divine beings. And that means whatever mistakes you made don't define you. Those were then, this is now. If you need to repair or change or grow, then do it. Repair, change, grow. But stand up in the truth of who you are now. And if you don't know, that's your first assignment. Figure out who the hell you are. And it isn't a role, and it isn't an assignment. At the core, who are you? And if you don't have a statement of truth about who you are in the world, you're not doing anything yet. I don't care what you know how to do. The most important gift that you and I have is who you are and who I am. Every breakdown in the world we see right now, all we see is hate and division and animosity, especially if you watch the news. I don't care which channel or which side or which this, that, and the other. It's all about bashing the other. What about the truth of our being, which is lifting, blessing, encouraging? Where is the channel for that? Well, the answer is nowhere. So guess what? It's yours and my opportunity to be a beacon of light, a vessel of love, a conduit of power, a person who takes another by the hand and says, yes, you can. Let me show you how. Let me lift you up. I have walked that road. Now, here's a thing that's going to irritate you, especially if you are a consultant or a coach or any of that stuff. And I am that. And back in my days in the energy industry, I was a consultant in the United States and Canada, and I got paid well for doing the consulting work that I did. And then I became a coach over time, and that was starting in 2007. So I've been at that work for 17, 18 years. And here's what I know. The most important thing that you or I have to offer the world isn't what I know how to do or what you know how to do. I don't care what you've learned to do. The most important thing you have is the story of your own becoming. What happened in your life that let you become who you are right here, right now? The authenticity of that becoming is all there is. Everything else is garbage. It's off the table, especially with the rise of AI. You got nothing left. If you're talking about things over there that you don't own personally, if the truth doesn't leak out of your eyes and ears and pores and every word you say, you're a fraud and you're going to be exposed and put out of business. It didn't used to be that way. Before AI came, we all could limp along on borrowed words, borrowed frameworks, borrowed authority. We would go learn a skill, right? A particular coaching framework. And there's lots of them, and I'm not dissing any of them. ICF framework and NLP and somatic coaching and 3 principles and all those things. Those are beautiful frameworks of teaching, and they are all valuable and powerful. And they don't mean anything unless the person conveying them is the product of the product. Unless you or I fully and completely embody, meaning demonstrate, meaning radiate, the truths we try to give to our clients, we don't have anything. We got nothing, because all it is hollow words. And let me tell you what I know. AI can do that faster and better than you or I ever can now or ever will be able to again after today. My prediction is that 95% of coaches are going to be out of business by Christmas of 26, 14 months, and that may be generous. You are not meant to simply survive this change. You're meant to lead it, but there's only one way to do that, and that is by acknowledging who you are being now. Are you being fearful? Are you being inauthentic? Are you less than your word? Do you say things and then not do them? The space for that is gone. If you want to lead, either in a company or as a coach, authenticity. I know it's an overused buzzword. Transparency, another overused buzzword. But if we talk and you don't have the sense that everything I say is true, transparent, and real, and it's going to be delivered, we got nothing. The only thing that matters is our word. We create our lives with our word. And you see that break down all the time. This business deal goes south. I was talking to somebody today just about a business deal going south, just about destroyed them. They had a big business deal worth many tens of millions, not hundreds of millions, but many tens of millions of dollars. Some investors pulled out and it trashed their life for a minute. But they recovered, not because somebody gave them cash, but they made choices about who they were going to be with integrity and creation in the world. The most important thing that you have is your lived experience. That's all that's valuable anymore, because AI can simulate and produce the rest. It can search the world database and produce information and expertise, collated, curated, organized, and in powerful language, faster than you can say your ABCs. The only thing that's left for us to have is the truth of who we have become, the truth of our life journey, the truth of our lived experience, the fires we have walked through, the choices we've made instead of ruin to refine. Events happen. They either ruin us or they refine us, but we get to choose. That refinement is something that the artificial world doesn't even understand. and cannot duplicate in any way, shape, or form. As I was doing the research for the book, it's going to be out in a week, Coaching and the Rise of AI, I analyzed 11 different coaching platforms and models, their strengths and weaknesses, how good they are at delivering their promised outcome, and everything else, and asked about how vulnerable they were with AI. And then I did this exact same analysis with a new model that I've developed that is built solely on integrity and our ability to carry presence and power and help people in a way that artificial intelligence that's simply gathered and collated and analyzed words simply can't do. So anyway, in doing that process, I asked the AI after, it did the analysis of all these things, including my new system. And I said, okay, cool. So I see all the things you do now and you'll be able to do, and how it's true that at least 95% of coaches won't even be able to make a living, because everything that most coaching has been that I see in the world will be blown out of the water faster and better, and you'll be able to get it all for $97 a month in some app. So I said, okay, fine. What can't you do? What do you suck at? You know what it said? It said lots of interesting things that were powerful. But the phrase that blew me out of the water is it said, I can't bleed. And in the essence of that comment was the truth that the human experience, the truth of that beingness, to use a word that isn't a word, but you know what I mean, is all that we've got left. And so if you and I are pretending or acting as if we're doing the imposter thing, if we're pretending to coach on something we don't fully embody, we're finished. Because all we're doing is using words to talk about something over there instead of having the truth vibrate from the core of our soul, stamped by the eons of eternity as truth from our lived experience. And I want you to think about it. Your life experience is all that matters. This is your call, wake-up call. It's going to be hard work. But everything that we do as consultants and coaches has got to be based on authenticity and truth and lived experience. And the only way we will be irreplaceable, if there is such a word, but valuable beyond replacement, is by choosing at every moment and in every time to be real. It's no more a jacket you put on. The truth of our being must vibrate and leak and pour out of every pore of the body, pour, P-O-U-R, out of every P-O-R-E, pour out of every pore, radiate from your eyes, because that is what is attractive and cannot be replaced. We'll see you tomorrow.